Everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to perform CRUD operations for a folder in Google Drive from native Android application with Kotlin. So CRUD operation basically like create, read, update and delete. So first let's get started. I will show you the output at the very end because we need to set up Google Cloud Console and all that stuff. So first what you will have to do is just Google for Google Cloud Console inside your browser, and you should see something like this. Once you have done that, you can just click over here, just click on new project, give your project whatever name you feel like and just click on create. Then it will take little bit of time to create your project, so be patient. Also here inside Android Studio I have created a simple empty views project, but if you want you can use Jetpack Compose as well. And inside VS Code I have created one practice project as well. I will be copying a lot of code from my practice project, so this was done before I'm recording this video, just so that I don't forget any steps. But yeah, I'll try to explain as much as I can. And here you can see our project was created. Just click on select project, and here inside drop down you should be able to see your project. Then click on API and services and click on enable API and services, and here you should see something like this. Just click on enable API and services, and here firstly we will have to search for Google Drive. Okay, I'll just click on enter. For this is the first API which we need to enable. Just click on it, and here just click on enable. And here you can see that API has been enabled. Then click on OAuth consent screen, click external, click create. Here you can give your app some name. I'll just keep everything simple, my app. Select support email ID. If you're deploying your app to Google Play Store, make sure you add your app logo over here as well using the browse button. I'm not deploying it, so I'll keep it things simple. Then here you have to add your email address as well. I think it is just for so as you can see, so I'll just add it over here at gmail.com. Also one more thing is we will be using Credential Manager, so we are using the latest and greatest, so don't worry too much about it. So here I will click on save and continue, and here you can see that this is fine. Just click on save and continue. And here given that I am not publishing my app to Play Store, we need to add some test users. So here you can add your test users email ID. I will be using my own email ID for testing, so I'll just add it over here. You can add multiple email address as well, and just click on add, and here you should see your email address been added. Again, this is only for testing purposes. Once you deploy your app to Google Play Store, you can remove your testing users as well. Then click on save and continue. But if you deploy it to Google Play Store, you have to make few changes as well. So here you can see you see this publish app button. You will have to click on this publish app as well, so that your app moves from testing to production stage inside Google Developer Console as well. Just deploying it to Google Play Console won't automatically change the status over here. So this is a different product, so you have to publish app over here as well. But again, like I told you, I'm not deploying it, so for me it's fine. Then just click on again create credentials, click on API key. I'm not really sure if this is necessary or not, but I'm just creating it just for safety sake. So this is my API key. Again click on create credential, OAuth client ID, application type select Android, and here firstly we have to enter our package name. So I'll just go to my Android application, build.gradle.kts, and I'll just copy this package name and I'll paste it over here. Then we require the SHA-1 certificate. So for development purpose, I just use this particular command for creating a SHA-1. But what I would recommend you is that if you have created a release APK, make sure you use this particular command, but really replace all the values. So here you will have to replace the key store value, the alias value, the store password value, as well as the key password value as well. But yeah, for now this is fine to generate it. Now what I'll do is I'll just go to my terminal and I'll just paste this command. Now this will create the SHA-1 certificate for me. Also here I will update it to HDK 35 because that is the latest one. I have also installed build tools for it. So this is fine. So here I'll just scroll up, and here you can see the SHA-1. Now you have to there are multiple SHA-1s. Make sure you select the one for Android debug key. So I'll just copy this particular one and I will paste it over here. So this is done. Then again, if you are deploying it to your app to Google Play Store, you will have to click on verify ownership as well. I'm not really doing that, so I'll just click on create. Now this will give us the client ID. This is pretty much useless. I don't know why, but for Android we have to create the web credentials. That is the client ID which we require. So again, click on create credential auth client ID, and here you can select on web application, and here you can just click on create, and this is the client ID which I want. So I'll just copy this and I'll just paste it inside my Android application. I will use it later on. Okay, and then again I'll just click on OK. So that's it for the Google Developer Console. Then I will just go to my practice project. First I will copy all the layout which I have. So I will just go to activity_main and I'll just copy everything. I'll just show you the code as well as the UI, how it looks like. So firstly, here you can see I have this button for login, because we need to log in using Credential Manager first. I have a logout button as well. I'm not really using it, but I'm just showing you guys the code in case if you are interested. Now for uploading anything, a folder, creating a folder, uploading a file, you need to have this Google Drive permission. So for that I have created a separate folder, but it is highly recommended every time you like create a folder, upload to a drive, read a drive, you write this, you first check whether you have the proper permission to Google Drive or not. So whatever code I have written on this click listener of this button, you have to add this check for each and every of this thing. But yeah, for simplicity I have created a separate button. Then I have created another button just to create a folder in Google Drive. Okay, then I have created another button to upload an image to that specific folder which we have created. Then how to read from that particular folder which we have created. Then here is our image view. So once we read it, I will just display that image view inside our image view folder. So I'll just change this as well. Okay, instead of image you can upload anything, whatever you feel like. I already have made a tutorial on how to upload a text document, but the advantage with this one is that I will be using the file ID. Now there are pros and cons for file ID, which I will talk about later on. So here is for deleting that particular file as well as updating that file as well. Okay, now the advantage and disadvantage of file ID is, so suppose I create a folder, right? It will give me a file ID. Now with the help of that file ID, I can upload any image or text document in that particular folder, or delete it or update it, whatever I feel like. But you will have to keep that file ID somewhere safe. It could be on your server. I won't store it on the app locally, because what if the user uninstalls the app, then you're again you don't have that file ID. In future I will also be making a video on how to perform CRUD operations without a file ID as well, because I think that would be helpful to lot other people's. But using file ID is the best approach according to me, but the disadvantage is you will have to store that file ID somewhere on your server. So yeah, that might increase the load on your server. So choose whatever you feel like. This tutorial is about file ID, but yeah, I will do a video about how to do CRUD operations without file ID as well. Anyways, if you're confused, that's fine. You will get more clarity once I show you guys the code. Then again, I'll come over here. I'll first go to Gradle libs.versions.toml. I need to copy few dependencies, so I'll just go to my project libs.versions.toml. I will just update this Kotlin version to whatever is Android Studio suggesting. I'm using this version now. At least at the time of me recording this video, these are the latest version, but by the time you watch it, if there is some other version, make sure you update it. I don't think there will be any breaking changes as such. And these are for our Credential Manager and data store preferences as well. Okay, so here I have copied all the dependencies. Next, what I'm basically doing is I'll just copy this bit of code as well, and I'll just paste it over here, and then I will just copy this code as well and I'll paste it over here. So this is a new thing in your Android Studio version called libs.versions.toml. And if I go to build.gradle.kts, I will first have to copy this. Okay, firstly I'll show you guys this proper thing. So these are the dependencies which I have added, as well as these are all the dependencies which I have added. Then I have added these 2 dependencies, as well as then I have added these 4 dependencies. Okay, so hopefully you are able to see everything. Next you will have to go to project build.gradle.kts, and here you have to add this packaging thing, otherwise you might get an error when you run your application. And the so I'll just copy this and explain it to you. So I'll just copy this. So here you can see that the first so this hopefully you have copied this. Then the first 4 dependencies are mostly related to Credential Manager. Once I get the email ID from Credential and Manager, I'm using the data store preferences to store that email ID, but use whatever you feel like. You don't really have to use data store preferences. But we require that email ID to be saved somewhere else. Otherwise there is another way to do state management using Credential Manager as well. I don't want to go into that much, but I'll create a separate video as well. And here you can do API client ID Android, and this API services drive, and this is the lib services play. To check the latest version, you can go to this particular documentation for this and as well as for this, and you can update the version over libs.versions.toml. Now I will just click on sync. Now it will download all the dependencies for me. Next I'll go to my main activity, and I'll firstly copy all the code, and then I will explain it to you step by step. Okay, so I'll just copy it over here. I'll scroll up. I don't require this package name. Okay, let the Gradle syncing finish because it is showing a lot of error. Once the Gradle syncing has finished, it will automatically it should, yeah, so it has resolved all the errors. So firstly, these are all the imports. You can copy paste all these imports which I have. Make sure you copy these imports because there are multiple imports for certain type of variables as well, so you might have the wrong imports. So just feel free to pause the video to copy paste all these imports. Then these are all the documentation and steps which I have written. In case if you want, you can copy that as well. This is the preferences data store which will help us to save the email once the user has logged in using Credential Manager. Here is our Google ID option. This is the login, logout, create folder, all these buttons which I have. Okay, and this is the folder ID and file ID, so there will be different IDs, right? And here is our register. So I'll come back to this later on as well as this later on. Don't want to confuse you guys too much. So inside on create, firstly we are initializing all our views. Then we get hold of our Credential Manager. If the user is already logged in, I'm just displaying a toast message. I'm getting that email from preferences data store. Okay, if not, then this won't get fired. Then this is the logout button. Again, I'm not really using it, but if you want, you can use it. This is the login button as well. So here we create this hash non security thing, and again I have made a separate video about Credential Manager. I won't go into the details about it, but basically this is used to log in the users. Okay, and once we get the result, we call this particular method which I will show you shortly. Once get permission button is called, so this will help us to get the access to Google Drive. So for that I have written all the code for it. Again, I've just copied this from documentation. You can do the same thing. Now for the very first time when you request permission, you will see a pop-up requesting the user to allow the permission. But if the user has already granted permission, and if you run this code again, you will come over here. So you have to run whatever code you have, upload, read, delete over here. Okay, because this thing needs to be called every time you need to upload. I mean, you don't need to call it, but you will have to do some state management to check whether you already have the permission or not. If you directly try to upload without having the drive permission, your app will crash. But for the very first time, here you can see we see this authorization launcher.launch. So for that I have created this one. So you will come over here for the very first time when the user displays a pop-up, and if the user has granted the permission, you will come over here. Otherwise you will come over here in case of permission failure. Then you can't upload, read, delete, update, all that stuff. Okay, also I will quickly show you this. Okay, anyways, I'll show it to you later. So hopefully you got the point for get permission button. Then create folder button. I have just created a method called create folder. For upload, I am just launching our image picker. So for that I have created this new photo picker, as you can see, and once you just call upload, I'm just uploading our passing our image to our media URI. Okay, so hopefully you got the point. And next I'll just come down. So this is for reading, and this is for deleting, and this is for updating our folder. I'm not updating the image, I'm updating the folder name, but you can update the image as well. For that also I will create a separate video on how to perform CRUD operation for a specific file. But yeah, then this is for delete. So here again we basically create this credential. So here you can see I'm using this email, and this all steps are common for create, read, update and delete. Okay, and if you permanently want to delete, you can just pass your folder ID and it will delete it. I will tell you how to get the folder ID. If you just want to move the file to trash, you can just uncomment this particular code and comment this one out. So it's up to you how exactly you want to do it. Okay, and once it is successful, I'm just displaying a toast message. For handle sign in, again this is credential manager. So given that we are doing Google sign in, you will come over here, and over here you will get the Google ID token. This is actually the ID is actually the email. This is the display name, person, photo, and here you can see I'm storing the email only, but yeah, feel free to save all other details if you want. This is for saving data, and this is for getting the data from preferences data store. Then here I have created helpful method for converting URI to file, because once we pick an image, we will get the image URI, and it will help us to convert that URI to a particular file as well. Then this is for getting the file extension of the file, and this is for copying string. Again I have just copy pasted this code. Then this is for creating a folder. Like I told you, this code will be common for everyone. Then we just have to create this particular drive file, set some name, set some MIME type. The MIME type is very important, and here you can see I'm setting the fields. Here we are creating that particular folder, and once it has been created, we get the folder ID from file.id, and I'm just displaying a toast message. So that's how you get the folder ID. Similarly, for uploading an image to that specific folder, again these steps are common. Then we are converting the selected image URI to a particular file. This is also common for all files. Then we just create this Google Drive file. We set the image name. Okay, and here as you can see I'm passing this parents. This is important, and here I'm passing the folder ID. So our image will be created in that specific folder itself, and then we just create this file content, passing our image file, and then again we just do this Google Drive service.files, creating our file, setting the fields as well. And once it has been created, we get the file ID for the image which we have uploaded as well. So I'm just displaying a toast message. Again same for reading as well. This is common steps for every time you have to do this. Just create a byte array buffer output stream, pass your file ID, and here you will get the file which we have just uploaded, like the image file, and I'm just displaying it inside our image view. Then this is for updating the folder. So here I'm not updating the image, but yeah, I'll make a separate video on how to update image as well. And here you can see I'm getting the again the same steps which we do every single time, and then we just pass our new folder name and whatever was the folder ID which we have saved. And then again I'm not saving this folder ID and file ID inside preferences data store on my server. If you want, you can do that as well, but don't save that file ID or folder ID to preferences data store file ID or folder ID to preferences data store, because if the user uninstalls the app, that will get lost. So be careful with that. And once that file has been updated, I'm just displaying a toast message here as well. And here you can see I have created this companion object as well for my app, image name, folder name and new folder name as well. Now this is our client ID, so I'll just copy. Okay, so here I have just copied our client ID, and we will have to paste it over here. So I'll just scroll up where exactly we want to paste the client ID. So here we have to paste the client ID, so I'll just pasted the client ID. Again I'll simply scroll through this all the code which I have shown you, in case if you have missed it, because there is just too much of code. So I'll simply scroll through this. Feel free to pause the video wherever you feel like. Again, like I have told you, be careful with this file ID and folder ID, because if you are saving it in preferences data store, that data will get lost once the user uninstalls the app. It's better if you are following this approach, save it to your server. Otherwise I will be making another video on how to update, read, delete files without the file id or folder id as well later on. I think that is a better approach, but yeah, using the file id and folder id makes things a lot simpler. If you don't have the file id, folder id, you have to loop over all the files inside Google Drive, and that might be time consuming as well for the user, for his data, and maybe for Google Drive services as well. So yeah, it's up to you how you want to do it. So yeah, this is all the code which I have. Okay, now I will just quickly run my application and show you guys the output. Now sorry, I have blurred the output. Is the reason is because once I click on the login button, it will show me all the Gmail ID inside a modal pop-up, and I don't want to expose that to you guys. But I'll just click on login, and whatever you have entered as a test user inside Google Cloud Console, you will have to select that particular email ID. So I will just select Brave Evidence one, which I have added inside my Google Drive console, and then just click on continue. Once that is done, the Google sign in part is complete. Okay, now also if I go to my Google Drive, I'll just go to home, and here you can see I have nothing really. And if I now click on get permission to drive, this is again a very important step. So this will again show a pop-up to the user that okay, now this you won't see in production app, given that our app has not been verified. That's why the user will see this. Again, this is not really a big deal. I'll just click on continue, and now the user will see something like this. The user will have to scroll and click on allow to give all the permission. Okay, so here you can see the permission has been granted. Now the output is little laggy because I'm doing Wi-Fi debugging. I'm not connected via USB, that's why. Now I will just click on create folder, and hopefully it should be able to create a folder on my Google Drive. Let's just wait. Again, if you want, you can display a progress bar as well, if you want to to tell the user that something is happening. Okay, let me just see if that folder was created. Okay, the folder was not created. Is there some error? Let's just check. Okay, I don't know. Okay, let me just try clicking on create folder again. Okay, there is definitely some error. Oh yeah, I know, I'm missing the internet permission. All right, so I'll just go to app manifest, user manifest, and I will just add this internet permission. Okay, I'll just rerun my application. Now if I'm rerunning my application, I don't have to click on the get permission button again, because that permission was already granted. But in your app you might need to do some state management to check whether the permission was already granted or not, or just rerun this get permission to drive code again before updating or performing any type of CRUD operation. Now I'll just click on create folder. Hopefully this time it should work. So here you can see I'm displaying this, getting this toast message. Now I will just go to Google Drive. I will just refresh. Okay, here you can see my folder was created. It is obviously an empty folder. Now I will just click on upload to drive, so it will open the image picker for us, and I will just select one of this image, and it will upload it to Google Drive. Again, I should be able to see the toast message. So here you can see I'm just seeing the toast message. I will just refresh. Okay, I don't need to refresh, it has already been automatically showing this particular image which I had uploaded. Okay, now I will just click on read from drive and hopefully it should be able to read that particular image as well. So here you can see it was able to read that. Now I will just do delete from drive as well, just so that I can prove it to you. I am able to delete as well. So file deleted. So if I, here you can see can't okay, because the file was deleted, right? Again, I'm not deleting the folder, I'm deleting the file. But just like I'm deleting the file by passing the file ID, you can also delete the folder as well. Now the last thing is updating the drive, updating the folder, I mean. But for that, again, I will have to okay, I can just click on update drive, right? Wait, I think I still have that folder. Oh no, I actually am deleting that folder. Sorry, I gave the wrong explanation. I'm deleting the folder. Okay, I'm not deleting the file. Now what I can do is I can just click on create folder again, just so that it creates the folder. Okay, so it has created the folder. I click on upload to drive. I will just select this next image and it will upload this particular image as well to drive. So if I refresh, here you can see this is my folder and this is the image in that folder. Also, if I go to my folder, this is the image. Okay, now I will just click on the update drive button as well, and here you can see the folder was renamed to my new folder. And if I refresh, here you can see my new folder. So hopefully you got the point. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.